And I want to start with a story that I referenced in the monologue about this couple in Acton, Massachusetts. Now they're suing the school district there. They want "under God" taken out of the Pledge of Allegiance at their local high school. Rabbi, I have a feeling that you may have a lot to say about that. What do you think?
Well, I think it is a perfect proof of the need for school choice to become a battleground for the faithful, a battleground for people who really do care about their children, because essentially what government indoctrination did I say government indoctrination? I mean public schools do for children is essentially force parents to hand over their most precious resource, to hand over that in which they are most powerfully invested, namely their own young, pure, innocent children, hand them over to an indoctrination program of secular fundamentalism. And now, after we have had years already of stripping out any element of transcendent faith within the public school system, somebody wants to yank out "under God," and we're surprised.
Right.
I say, let them do it. What basis do we have to protest at this point? We've yielded for so long. We've given up for so long. Let this be a lesson to us. You can't wait until it's too late, because there is such a thing as being too late. You know, one of the great myths of the left is that everything works out in the end. Follow your heart, not your head. It's never too late. It's complete bilge water. It's utter sentimental claptrap. There is such a thing as missing the boat, and we've missed it in Massachusetts.
And Rabbi, I think you make a great point. David, this seems like a natural progression. This is a logical conclusion of decades of taking God out of every facet of our lives. You wrote about it so eloquently in Defense of Faith. What do you see here in the school district?
The first thing we need to remember, Eric, this isn't just one strange family in Massachusetts or wherever they may live. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in California, one step below the Supreme Court of the United States in 2002, said the words "under God" in our Pledge of Allegiance is unconstitutional. So we're talking about a movement that is well progressed in the United States and poses a much greater threat than just a couple here or there. But even if we forget this fight over the words in our Pledge of Allegiance, even if those words stay there, and we can't assume they will, I'm afraid those words have lost meaning for most Americans because we no longer teach most Americans the significance of them and the truth of them. Those words "under God" should remind us not only that our Declaration of Independence is a profoundly Judeo-Christian doctrine, our rights given to us by our Creator, not the government, but they should remind us that the very morality that is the foundation of our civilization, the very morality even our leading atheists would say, yes, those are morals dear and near to my life. That morality is a profoundly and distinctly Judeo-Christian morality. When an atheist will challenge this, and yet tell me it's wrong to kill someone of a different tribe or a different race, or wrong to kill an infant baby, it shows you how far we've gotten, because they don't recognize the source of their own morality. These ideas are revolutionary ideas that have not been found in most societies and most of the history of the planet.
You know, Rabbi, do you think that these forces, the forces of atheism, of taking the Bible, the Ten Commandments out of every sphere of American life, do you think they've gotten emboldened in the past few years under the Obama administration?
There's no question about it. And, you know, one of the many things for which I'm profoundly grateful to my wife is that she undertook to homeschool our children, thereby protecting our investment. And one of the things we've seen is the growing gap between how our children look at the world and how many of their friends who attended general public schools look at the world. And the emboldening of aggressive secular fundamentalism has accelerated under the Obama administration without any question whatsoever. And what a lot of people who are going to be listening to us right now are going to be thinking to themselves is they're going to say, look, you know, here are these three guys, Eric and David and me, and they were talking away about the assault on Judeo-Christian values, but what does it really matter? I mean, we live in a land of freedom and plenty, and who really cares? I mean, everything is fine. And the bottom line is that it isn't fine, and I'd like to just give one quick example of a way in which it is going to impact each and every one of us. And that is, just think about the delight everybody takes in being able to go to a store and finding it full of merchandise. And you walk in and somebody comes up and says, "Can I help you?" And if it's a shoe store, they go down on their knees to change your shoes. And then when you've done your transaction, they say, "Have a nice day." And you've been able to choose from a mind-numbing array of merchandise, whether it's a grocery store or a shoe store. I don't think people realize how slender and fragile is that entire retail experience that has been a principal element in the economic engine of American history. Because that system depends utterly and completely, and I cannot overemphasize this point, depends utterly and completely on a majority of the employees and of the customers being honest. And that's true at a beautiful shopping mall, and it's true online, and it's true on the corner grocery store. As soon as employee theft reaches a certain point, by the way, the euphemism is shrinkage, if you don't mind. As soon as that reaches a certain point, as a store owner, I close up my store and call it a day. You can't run a business that way. As soon as customer honesty collapses and people start shoplifting, I mean, if you think about it.
And we saw it in Britain this summer. In August,
saw
the riots
you saw it
across
fall
all
apart.
races, ethnic groups, everyone was rioting.
Everybody joined in because, and here's that critical initial moral flaw, that initial moment that transforms everything, which is, I have a right to things.
Yeah.
I am entitled to
Entitlement.
things. It's the entitlement mentality. I am entitled to things. You mentioned it in your eloquent monologue. It's something I need. It's things that I want. Come and get them. So take away Judeo-Christian values, strip out the moral foundation and the backbone of American life in terms of biblical-based faith. You can kiss the retail experience goodbye. It can't work any longer.
Among other things, and David, I think Rabbi makes a great point. It seems like Judeo-Christian values are the great restrainer in this world, restraining complete evil, chaos, and madness. Look at the Middle East, where those values are in short supply.
Yeah. You know, I appreciate the rabbi's point. I think people are tired of hearing people say faith is under assault and, oh, we're going to lose the foundations of our morality. And I think what they fail to realize is how easily it can happen. It's a gradual process. I would argue it's a generational process. But we don't have to look back to ancient history to see how easily it can happen in Judeo-Christian civilization. The 20th century was not that long ago. And it was the bloodiest century in the history of the planet, punctuated by genocides from the opening years to the closing years.
In the most advanced country in the world, Germany.
That's right, that's right. And in each case, you look at these genocides. From the earliest genocide perpetrated by the Germans, not against the Jews in Germany, but against the Africans in Namibia, to the closing genocide, also in Africa. And you see, in each case, it was motivated by modern ideas, nationalism, communism, racism, that enabled us to reject the Judeo-Christian principles that we're all created equal and single out certain groups to be treated differently.